Welcome to SF Commons, San Francisco's community media channel. Today we're spotlighting two local artists, Jayson Johnson and Phoenyx Rose. Jayson's a filmmaker and Phoenyx is a model, actress, and musician. And they are collaborating on a soon to be released short film called T.H.O.T. So why don't we start with you, Jayson? You're working with a lot of local talent and you've put some thought into the film. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the setting and the film means to you and what viewers should expect?
Sure. So the film starts in a barber shop, and it kind of centers around how guys will talk about girls in a very disparaging way in public settings to kind of amp up their masculinity. And in this film, there's some untruths told about the one of the characters in the film, which Phoenix plays, and we just wanted to explore untruths, sexuality between male and females, and just what's accurate in Black culture.
And Phoenyx, you've had a varied career that has also taken you internationally. You've done modeling work, you have some singles, and you're working on a third one that's soon to be released.
Yeah,
And this is your first lead role in a film, correct? What does
correct.
this particular role and film mean to you? So Jayson is seeing it one way as a male and as the creator of the film, whereas you're on camera and you're representing the female character. What are you hoping for viewers to get and what does it mean to you?
Well, initially, I'd like to say thank you for having us here. Initially, the THOT is an acronym for that hoe over there. So I'd like to guide us away from creating that label instantly. Oftentimes, women can be labeled from their outward appearance, and thought actually allows you to give it some thought, and you'll see that a woman's outward appearance is not exactly who she is. You have no idea. So just pay attention.
Tell us a little bit about the setting that this takes place in. So, Jayson, you said that you work with almost all or all or almost all Black crew and cast. So, what is the setting of the barber shop like signify in the culture in these neighborhoods?
Well, I feel like the barbershop or hair salons, there's like a lot of information that passes through there. And
Mhm.
so in the Bay Area, we really wanted to capture that essence in our culture. We wanted to show something that was very authentic that really could happen. I obviously don't go to the barbershop that much because I don't have a lot of hair, but my friend, Kareem Gedra, who had the story idea for this, he told me about his experiences in the barbershop and how this actually happens. So, using that information, I worked with Sarah Anders, another writer and producer, to bring this to the forefront and to do something that's authentic.
And so let's talk a little bit about where your careers have taken you. Jayson, you have come to the Bay Area from living and growing up elsewhere, and Phoenyx, you're a San Francisco native. So Jayson, what do you see about the Bay Area as a community for artists? Like, what are some, start with you, Jayson, like pros and cons or differences that you see from where you've lived prior to the Bay Area scene, if any?
Yeah, sure. Good question. So I originally came to the Bay Area and I got a job working for Francis Ford Coppola. And he was really one of my film heroes growing up. I think as a kid from Chicago, you have an interest in film, but you never really think it's possible. So all of a sudden, when I came here and I was able to work with him, it all of a sudden seemed like maybe there's a sliver of a chance that can happen. So, with that, I just continue to kind of go down my path and here I still am. So, to work with great artists like Phoenix Rose and Adrian Marcel. So, in one way, that's a real big positive. I guess the downside or con of living in San Francisco is it's a commercial town up here, and
Yeah.
not a lot of film production happens. So either you make it for yourself, or you just kind of wait for something to happen to get on.
Yeah. What about you, Phoenix? You're born in San Francisco, and because I guess because your parents were musicians, you
Mhm.
have lived all over. You spent some time in different countries abroad. You did some music work in other countries. How does the Bay Area scene compare for the arts? Differences, pros and cons, in your view?
Well, let's see. There are probably many different pros and cons because I've been to Africa doing music, Japan doing music. I would say that the pros of San Francisco is that you get the grit, the authenticity because I'm from here, so it's received a little bit more relatably. Is that, yeah, that's possible. It's received in a relatable way. And so in Europe, sometimes they have an issue, but they also receive you just because you're different. So the way that they receive you is a bit different. But there's not really a downside. I wouldn't say there's a con except for I'm further away from my family. Yeah.
Let's talk about, something really specific that's happening right now that wouldn't have been the case a year ago, maybe when you
Mhm.
started your collaboration and started working on thought. Um, San Francisco has always been known as a really liberal, progressive, but really creative arts town.
Yeah.
Been through different phases of arts, a place where you can reinvent yourself, try anything. And then in recent years, we've transformed very much into a tech scene and tech money and tech transplants. That seems to be waning, although maybe it's too early to tell what the long-term effects of the pandemic and remote working is. But do you think there's still a foothold and hope for the arts and artists to succeed in the city, Jayson?
I think so. I think that wherever you go, there's always going to be a need for arts. I
Mhm.
think that just speaks to the human soul. When there's color, there's music, there's something to look at. I think tech is something that is an enhancer. I think because in many ways, platforms like YouTube or Vimeo or Facebook Watch, those have given more opportunities to filmmakers, whereas before maybe they didn't have that chance. So um, I always try to stay optimistic. So I think that there's always going to be arts, and there's going to be a chance for me and for Phoenix and for people in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I totally have been hearing that, as we've been doing different interviews and thinking about the history of San Francisco arts and where things are going. So to like take a different slant on that question for Phoenix, like what is your hope for, as a really multi-talented artist who works in different mediums,
Mhm.
what's your hope to see, being back kind of home where you're from, with the art scene here?
Exactly. I would hope to see and love to see all artists adapt to this new landscape for getting your creativity out there and being creative because we've always been, hands on type of people. And initially, the whole self-tape thing was a little overwhelming. I'm not a filmmaker, so having to do it on my own made it a little complicated. But the great side of it is I don't have to leave my house to do anything. I can do different takes. So I think it allows us to grow as an artist and not just someone in one genre of an area. So now I'm not only a model, but I'm an editor, I'm a videographer. I'm now writing all my stuff because no one else is going to do it for me right now. And if they were, I'd have to, leave my house and go outside and wear a mask to do it. So it's definitely put us in a renaissance phase and a lot of inventions, necessities, new orders are coming along. So that's the really exciting part about this uncertainty.
I love the idea of a renaissance following the sort of
Yeah,
dark phase we've been going through, with
exactly.
COVID. Having been working on the film that's coming up for the past year,
Mhm.
were there any difficulties or restrictions with COVID? You had to take. I mean, there any delays or safety measures you had to take? What was that like making a film during this time?
Oh my God, yes. So I think we got delayed one, two, three times,
Yeah.
and we had a person in our cast come down with COVID, so he was able to quarantine And then, he was good by the time that we filmed. We had a strict, mask protocol, and, the digital thermometers and face shields. And oh my gosh, it just seemed like it seemed very difficult at times. But um, I think that, I'm glad that we did it. But I'm gonna look forward to when filmmaking just kind of returns back to just that's not a part of the equation anymore.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely added a layer of difficulties. I mean, I think we all know from not just the news and anecdotally, but friends we have, maybe the service industry had a lot of accommodation where people could keep working, but the arts industry has been hit particularly hard.
God.
Live performances, going to see a movie in a theater hit really, really hard.
Yeah. I worked for Berkeley Repertory Theater, and we were, just taking precautions that first week, and then after that there's nothing. You can't do anything. So live theater is something that is truly felt. So that's one thing that I'm kind of like, oh, I miss that energy, but it's coming back. It is.
What about you, Jayson? Aside from not having to deal with safety precautions while being a filmmaker, what do you miss the most for the art scene or anything to come back or change?
I just miss going to the movies. I mean, having that experience, kicking your feet back, having some popcorn, and just seeing other films. I adore Netflix and all that stuff, but it's just not the same. So
Mhm.
I
That was
just
going to be
need to
my
do
next
more.
question. As a filmmaker, you've made quite an impressive list of films, lots of festivals, which is, festivals we're doing at home now, but that can be a very in-person interactive experience. And, kind of business-minded people are making the bet, are we just at home for good with streaming and Disney Plus and HBO Max, or like are people going to go back to the theaters? So it sounds like you're betting on a return to the theater.
I think so. I think in many ways this has been good because I think the theaters are going to have to innovate now, and it's not going to be just the $15 popcorn. It's going to be maybe you go to the movie and then there's like some networking event after. So it's like there's lots of opportunities. I don't think it's going to go away, but I think that they do need to innovate, and I look forward to that. So
I look
uh,
forward to you being at one of those filmmaker discussion events and
Yeah.
yeah.
seeing your films in person. So that's great insight from some industry insiders about the
Mhm.
industry and about filmmaking and the arts. Let's go back to talking a little bit more about your personal art. So one thing that I think is really interesting, Phoenyx, is you mentioned some significance or meaningfulness between one of your songs and the themes of the film that you all are working on right now. Thought, tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, the significance of the song is titled, first of all, Not Built to Break. The song is called Not Built to Break. And at times when you're labeled incorrectly and the labels are hurtful, it can break you down. And so the song is just basically about dusting yourself off, getting back on your feet, starting from the bottom because the only way to go is up, no matter what happens. So Not Built to Break ties into thought, question mark, not really, she's not. So I'm very excited and grateful for the opportunity to have that as one of the featured tracks for the entire film.
Do you feel that having that, song in your personal sort of like portfolio or repertoire informed your performance and your work on the film?
Absolutely. I could 100% relate to Stacy, my character in the film, not only because of the song, but actually because of the situations within it. And so, yeah, I had a lot to pull from my actual personal experience. Yes.
Jayson, what are your hopes now at the stage that you're in for the film? You've wrapped up shooting and production. It sounds like you're moving into getting ready to edit. What is your sort of like dream or your hopes for what's going to happen with it?
Even though I downed HBO Max, I hope to sell it to a streaming service. But we're going to do the festival route, so that I hope that the film gets into a lot of festivals and we get a good amount of press. And I guess the ultimate is to see the careers of other people positively affected that, were a part of this project. So I would love it if I could go to like one of Phoenix's concerts and like, can I have your autograph now?
Stop.
So I just, artistry to me is a very collaborative experience, and I just want to see the best possible scenario for everyone that comes out of this.
Yeah, I think it's really important, like we are more broadly community media than purely arts, but really to give that exposure, as you mentioned, support each other, highlight, share, network, promote each other's content wherever possible. That's how you build community, I think, and that's how you uplift those around you and their work. So it's really exciting to be having you both and talking about your work as we're getting ready to really ramp up our artist spotlight on SF Commons. What can people do who want to know more about your work? You can each answer individually, or support your work, follow what you do, find out more about Thought. Phoenyx?
This how you can find me these days is phoenixrose.live. And you can just go there and all of my links will be posted in that one area. So phoenixrose.live, you can find me there.
And we can see, what will we see there, just to tempt people to go click?
Okay, up and coming, I have my third single coming out called Tip. If you love to wear high heels or watch people wear high heels and dance, the song is for you. That releases March 12th. I also have a very, very high fashion runway video / show with James Thomas Head coming up February 25th. So look out for that. There's a goddess fashion shoot and Tip, the song, March 12th.
Yeah, gotta get people tempted to go take a look
Yeah,
at
no, come on down. It's beautiful.
Really good. And Jayson, if people want to follow your work, learn more about your existing films, and find out how they can watch and support Thought.
Sure. You can find me online with a Google search as Jayson, Jayson Johnson. Otherwise, you can also Google Strike 5 Films, which is my film production company. And I'm just going to do a shameless plug here. We're in the second season of our clothing that we make. So feel free to go online and buy a hat or shirt and join the Strike 5 Films mafia.
So Strike 5 Films, you can get your merch and support the sort of artists behind the work and help you do what you do.
Yes.
Cool. So anything else either of you want to add about the upcoming film or your work, or anything that we talked about? It's really nice to have you both and air this during Black History Month. So, as much as possible, having the voices of, the local Black community in your work. Anything else come up for you?
Jayson?
Go ahead, Phoenix.
Okay. I forgot to mention that during this pandemic and becoming a Renaissance woman even more so than I already am, I started a face mask company, Facemask by Phoenyx.com. So that has happened. And I am truly grateful to be a part of something so groundbreaking, brown and Black, and just artistic in the midst of everything, in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of a financial crisis, in the midst of it all. We were able to find the light and the beauty of it and continue to make art. So I'm just truly grateful for that and looking forward to it. And that's
super inspiring. No, just very inspiring. I'm glad you shared that, because we do want to hear what everyone's doing. Anything you want to finish off with or add, Jayson?
A lot of people, they always say, hey, Jayson, how do you do it, or whatever. And I would just want to say that to anyone that wants to be a filmmaker or creator or anything, you can do it, because I started out as an actor, and I would go to audition after audition and be like, you, not you, Jayson. And then that kind of got me to thinking, well, maybe I should just try to do this myself. So I think that if you have a goal, if you have a dream, go out and do it, and anything is possible.
Absolutely. I second that.
Yeah. And here we are, we can show people and showcase your work. It's inspiring. It really is a good example and role models of what you can do if you choose your path. So thank you so much both for your time, for joining us. We are going to send people to check out your websites and follow along to see more of your material, your film, and your arts. catch up
Thank
with you
you.
again.
Much gratitude.
Yeah, thank you so much.